Last practice and was in helmets only, and I thought we got some good work done. Certainly the guys have bought in and taken advantage of the practices we have. The spring game is going to be a pretty important game. Those squads will be split up, and how we'll do it right now is 10-minute quarters, and we'll make a determination in the second half whether it's a running clock or not. But try to get in a pretty good portion of a game. I think we're pretty healthy right now, and so it'll be an exciting deal. And we're glad that I think we booked in a good practice today and had a good sessions throughout spring.
Craig, will you and the staff divide the teams, or do a draft, or?
No, the team's already divided. Tim will probably release those to you. A couple things. Austin Conway will not be playing in the game. Violation of team rules. He has been practicing. And Adrian King has decided to leave the football team. So that's some status on some guys. Don't want to give that to you now. But the teams are pretty evenly divided. What it'll be really comprised of is most of the time our first offense will be out there against our first defense, and then the twos will be against the twos, as you'll see. But it'll be a good competitive game.
Did Adrian give you a reason why he was leaving, or?
It just wasn't the right fit. Yeah.
Are you pleased? Again, you'll have the spring game, but as far as what you were able to do this spring, pleased? There's some areas you're really pleased with, some areas you're a little more concerned with.
Well, I don't want to say a little bit of a mixed bag. I think we're further along than we were last year as a football team. Certainly, some positions are stronger. Some positions may not be quite as strong, but I think collectively we're a little bit further along. I know physically we're bigger. I think the movement skills that we have are a little bit better, and the guys from a maturation point, we're further along. So I'm pleased with that, and it'll be important we cap it off with a good spring game. As a head coach, you always get a little bit concerned about injuries, but I think we need work. We're still a young football team, but we're making progress as a program, and so we're happy about that.
Do you like the competitive edge that you're seeing out of this group as opposed to maybe your first spring a couple years ago?
Yeah, the first spring a couple years ago seems like a long time ago. Yeah, I think so, and there's a couple things that come into play. When you have confidence, you're going to play more aggressively, and so I think our guys certainly understand our offense and defense and special teams better than what they have. We've recruited more competitive guys. I think we've got a competitive edge, and I think we got a hungry football team. They were displeased last year. We didn't end on a real high note. Lost our bowl game, lost the championship game. Now we were competitive, but to take that next step and to really be in a good football team, you got to be ultra competitive. And so, yeah, but we've had a good camaraderie. Sometimes during spring football, there's a we against them attitude. Certainly, there's times during spring that the offense and defense have sparred around a little bit, but by and large, I think they've really gone out and they've practiced hard against one another. So we like the chemistry, we like the focus, and we've had good leadership too.
It sounds like you were pleased from the footage of the three running backs, Overstreet, Milo Hall, Nico Evans. Have you seen one of them step up mentally or physically in the last few games? A
little bit. Milo is probably playing as good as he ever has been, and so has Nico. I mean, those two guys now. Kellen's getting back in the groove. We got to recognize he hasn't played football in a long, long time, and so he's improving. So with those three guys, we feel good about their progress. But the big question everybody has is how are you going to replace Brian Hill and all those yards? I'm not saying that one of these three guys is as talented as Brian is right now, but we feel good about where they're at. And our offense every year is going to be a little bit different. The dynamics will change a little bit, but we're pleased with those guys. And beyond just running, they're becoming much more a complete back with their pass protection and their receiving skills.
Coach, I think you mentioned at that spot you'd like to at least name a starter at the end of the camp. Is that still kind of the plan?
Yeah, you know what? That'll be the plan. Now, that depth chart's going to be a little bit fluid, and if you've tracked our progress through the last couple of years, most of the time we're going to play a lot of different guys here, but yeah, we'll do that.
What are you really hoping to see from that spring? You want to see, I'm sure there's evaluation still, you want to see competitiveness. Anything in particular you would like to see come from the spring game, I guess?
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that have not played a lot of football, and it's going to be a game. And so how they respond, and that's always different as opposed to when the coach is right behind them, how they are out there on the field, and there's fans up in the stands, and there's officials that are calling the game. I think that that's going to be important. Our consistency, how we're handling plays on offense. Are we shooting ourselves in the foot? Are we looking like a pretty well-oiled machine? Defensively, we're looking at tackling. What guys can get off and make tackles and be in good position and rally around the football, and then we're looking for some explosive plays in the kicking game. So that's all part of this maturation process. And so as a coaching staff, we sat down and said, okay, really, what are we trying to accomplish with this game? We still are going to evaluate. You're going to have good players going against good players, and then also just get them the feeling of, okay, what is it like to play in a game? So be a fun time.
Is there one thing that stands out to you for this next spring game that you saw in film that you don't want to happen, that you want to change in the spring game?
Well, that's an interesting question. The things that you're looking for there are just all kinds of mental breakdowns. We've had a lot of practices, and so in the past we've had some things where you just have guys gap out. They get in the situation and they're having a hard time executing, and so we need to see competent play and competent assignments and guys playing at a fast pace. The other thing I think we need to see is real clean football. Fundamentally, when you see guys that are in position, they make tackles, they tackle well, they wrap up. See guys in blocking and throwing and catching, not a lot of balls on the ground, so stuff that's really clean. I thought we made improvements from the first 2 years to last spring, and now it's going to be important we take another step forward.
Coach, I've noticed I haven't seen Brinkley out there much. I know he's recovering, but is he away from the team? Does he have classes during practice?
He's working on his academics. It's way different than all the other guys, so he's really working hard on academics. He's probably up in the study hall right now.
You hope to have the depth chart, after the spring game, or do you guys kind of have it in mind? Or
we got it in mind, but the challenge is going to be come Sunday, everybody's out of here. So I'll look at it and I'll talk to the coaches. Hopefully we'll get you a depth chart sometime. It may not be on Monday, but it'll be sometime over the next couple of weeks.